Why are the playoffs better at Boston Pizza? Because we've optimized our sports bar experience by studying in-depth fanalytics, starting with our new BP winged ribs, currently leading all apps in wings above replacement, and deep-fried pickle wedges, an early favorite for the unanimous #1 overall pickle. And, of course, the advanced stats darling and leader in pints per game, the new Beer Mosa. Catch the playoffs at Boston Pizza, powered by Fanalytics.
Oh, we don't have an intro, I suppose, huh?
No, I guess I could have sang something, but I wasn't.
Oh, that'd be nice.
That looks like Mario Kart.
Mario Kart? Let's go! Oilersnation Radio episode 95,000. We are doing it on a Thursday night. We are adjusting the time at which this is going out because me and Tyler are off to LA. Liam has got you got a camp this weekend, don't you?
Crusaders U18 showcase, last one of the year.
But you know what?
We're showcase
craft. We're committed to the craft. We're committed to giving you guys content, except Tyler. Of course, avoid the grind. He does have the hoodie.
Hey, what's he doing?
He's a 9-to-5 man, Rick. After 5 o'clock, it's difficult to get him to do anything.
Yep, that's
My
true.
Lord.
Yep.
He was committed to doing this until what, like 3 minutes before the show?
Yeah. It's 7:15 on a Thursday night, and Tyler's checked out. He said, fuck you, boys. See you next week. And I end quote. As we do every week, we got to give a shout out to our friends at Oodle Noodle. They've got 18 locations and counting. If you are in Edmonton, grab a free sticker. Pop one in and say, hey, I would like some spring rolls. Hey, I would like some green onion cakes. Hey, I would like a butter chicken and some free Oilers Nation stickers, please. And they'll say, sure, no problem. Here you go. And then you can beautify your life. Maybe slap those on your face if you're going down to the moss pit. Slap those on your face if you're going to Greta on Friday. Although I did hear that we are sold out of reservations. Now it is walk-ins only for Friday, and that Sunday is looking like it's sold out as well. So if you want to get down there, make sure that you try and make a reservation at gretabar.com/book. But first, we're back to the Oodle Noodle Delicious Debate. Liam, what have you got for us? Or what has Tyler prepped for us?
Tyler told me before he left the driving range tonight, he said, What's the biggest thing that the Oilers need to do if they want to win both games in LA, Los Angeles?
Just absolutely outed him right there. Love it.
Yeah, he's going golfing. He's just said, fuck you guys. Got to work on my pitching wedge. That's what Tyler said.
Got to work on his time before he gets to LA.
He does have to work on his tan. He's in the beds right now. One of the stand-up booths. I've heard he's listening to Shakira and he is dancing. Mm-hmm. You know, wearing only a sock and a smile. Liam, the Oilers want to pick up game 3 and 4 on the road in Los Angeles. What do they need to do?
How about this one? Not take so many stick infractions. Like, probably figure out how to be a little bit more disciplined with the sticks. Last game, it was better to the defense, but boy, oh boy, did Evander Kane bring up that undisciplinedness when he whacked the puck over the glass with his clearance. I know what he was trying to do with like knock it down.
People
and,
talk about it like he was doing it on purpose or something.
It's just a funny thing because like, how often do you ever see that? Like what he was trying to do was so blatantly obvious. I think there was 15 seconds left. He's like, okay, I'm just going to whack it down. By the time anyone touches it, the penalty will be over. And it was just unfortunate. It went over the glass, but it's just like, man, like at this point in the game, you don't need to be doing that. Just bring it down and just whack it down yourself. But that'll be mine.
Yeah, but to me, it's just he's trying too hard though. He's trying to do something. I'd rather have him see. I'd rather batter go down with the swing and then keeping the bat on the shoulders, right? If he doesn't do anything there and the puck goes the other way, then they're going to sit there and go, oh well, why is he's not even trying? He doesn't even care out there.
What they got to do in game 3 and 4.
The easiest thing to do is score that damn third goal. You get up 3-0, and I think things are going to be much, much different. If you only keep it at 2, well, the 2-goal lead is the worst one in hockey, right? So get that third goal, and then you can go from there. They're completely out of their game plan if they're down by 3.
Dan, what do you think? Games 3 and 4 are in Los Angeles. What do the boys got to do to make sure that they turn the game 2 win into a win in game 3 and 4?
I think you touched on it, Rick. It's that everybody's just trying to do a little bit too much. When the team is up 2-0, just feels like the Vinny Desharnais, the Evander Kanes, the Kyler Yamamotos of the world, the Ryan McLeods of the world are all just trying to do a little bit too much and not it just feels like nobody's trusting in each other to just kind of let this team steamroll like they were at the end of the season. So yeah, I think it's just trust in each other and stop trying to do too much on your own.
Yeah, I you know what, I like that answer too. I think that and I don't know how you do this, so it's a weird answer to give almost, but like they got to try to avoid the lull. Because last night you're watching the game 2, and we'll get into that right after this. But like the first period was arguably one of the best periods that the Oilers have played in a while, not just in the playoffs, but just in general. And then in the second period, started off fine. Then at about the midway point, that kind of had a little bit of a lull. So I'd like to avoid those lulls. And I don't know how to do that.
Well, I think they're just
when they do, that's when they get themselves into trouble with making the mistakes that they don't normally make when they're on top of it.
I think they just need to be more aggressive, even when you're up by 2. Mm-hmm. Just keep going. Keep going. It's like playing to the whistle. Just keep scoring goals. When you're up by 4 or 5, then you can start to, change your game style a little bit and play a little more defensively than offensively. But get that 4 and 5 goal lead first. 2's not enough. I know we won a couple games before the end of the season, by a goal or 2, and it looked good and everybody felt confident. But we don't have to play that way. We have the offense. Let's go out there. Let's get 4 or 5 goals in the first 2 periods. And then the third period, if you guys want to lock it down like that, go right ahead. If they sneak one in. Both those goals last night were so damn lucky too. They're the smallest holes in the world to go in.
Yeah, they were annoying.
Like that was the first one. How small was that spot? It was like the one that Leon scored from the side.
And the biggest problem I had with the first one was that what's his name?
Bouchard.
Deneau?
Bouchard but Philip Deneau got 3-4 hacks at it. I was staring at it right in front of me, and I was just like, man, take him down, hack him, cut his leg off. Well, don't do that. That would go against Liam's avoid stick infraction penalties, but do something.
But it's
the second one. It was just like it's a fraction of a second.
Mm-hmm. But same thing though.
Fraction of a second earlier. And now at night, that's what I just think. It's just a little bit more urgency. I don't think it's just a little bit of more urgency. He's doing exactly the right thing, moving the puck exactly where it needs to go. But you got to give the LA player credit for coming back like that. And he's got to move the puck just a fraction of a second. That's all it is. And then his skate was against the post. Skinner's skate was against the post, was it not? His blade was flush, and there's a little hole down there just because the pad and the weight and the blade and stuff, and it slipped through there. Like if he wasn't against the post, I give it, but he is against the post. So I want to hear from a goaltender what exactly the textbook is to do. Do you put your blade flat against the post, or do you try and spin it so your blade is against the ice, so you're pushing down? Because I think that creates another hole too.
All I know is that one couldn't go in because when that went
so lucky.
It was like somebody dropped a shit at center ice at Rogers Place. Just a fresh shit on the ice. And there's, Vinny could have made a quicker play a little bit. That's fine. Stu, to Rick's point, I don't know what he could have done. I was staring at it. It happened right in front of me. And I don't know how that went in.
That's why it just frustrates me when I hear people say, "Oh, that can't go in." It's when you say, "Oh, that can't go in," it's like the Miko glove save or lack thereof. Mm-hmm. Like this, I think he did everything technically properly. I think
one thing that has irritated me about and things that need to get better going into game 3 and 4 is that I feel like every single goal the Oilers have scored, maybe regardless of the power play ones, they've truly had to earn those goals where LA is scoring not at ease, but off mistakes by the Oilers. They haven't had a hard working goal yet. Maybe the Deneau one was a hard working goal because they brought it across and kept going at it. And I suppose the Desharnais stick lift a little bit too, but those are kind of more mistakes by the Oilers of not making plays quick enough and just stupid penalties. And it's just make it difficult on them. I'm not saying LA isn't going to score goals. They obviously have a good offensive team who can do that, but the Oilers can't make it so easy on some occasions for the LA to just sneak back into the game. It's kind of like what Rick said. I said this on the Oilers Nation every day too. If you get that third goal before LA gets one, I think the game's done. I don't think LA has enough to get back from that.
Well, so we got another scrap in this Leafs game, Dan.
Yes.
But to to Rick's point, I think too as well, like the thing that bothers me about these goals and how they end up in the net is one thing, but the Kings are scoring because the Oilers are shooting themselves in the foot.
And they're getting they're lucky. Those are not high percentage opportunities there. They're
lucky, but they still count.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I mean, don't take it a bad way, but I just feel like you can't. If I'm talking to the team, then I'm like, hey guys, you can't get two down here. Like those are not. You made a little mistake here outside the blue line, and then that's just unlucky the way that puck went in. And the same with that just. I don't think there's any reason for them to get down. I don't think there's any reason for the fans to get down. I know 2-2 gave you the immediate feeling of the previous game 2-2, and we know how that one turned out. But I mean, when you take a step back and you look at it, their goals aren't really because they're dominating anything. They got some good bounces. Cool, good for them. Those count just as much. But our team is out there. They're handling this game outside of those. And I know that's the biggest part of it, scoring goals. But outside of that, they're dominating.
And again, that's exactly what frustrates me. Is we were talking to Liam and I were talking in the office today, and I'd say what, Liam, did we say the Oilers dominated 5 of 6 periods for the most part?
Yeah, I think as a collective, the Oilers have been in control. If you could even say 5.5 periods, it's very rarely any times that LA has sustained pressure in the offensive zone. It's kind of wild that this series is honestly tied at 1-1, but I guess that's the beauty of the Stanley Cup playoffs too.
Yeah, and that's the frustrating part about it is because to me, it's just, I feel like, so to answer the delicious debate again, going into games 3 and games 4, don't let yourselves beat yourselves, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Just know what your mistakes were.
You're the better team by far. And it's not particularly close. Mm-mm. So just play your game, simplify. You guys are good. You're good. Just go in there. Do the job.
This could be long-term karma for us too, by the way. Because we were the team, the late 90s, we were playing the Stars and stuff. We were the team getting dominated out there and somehow sticking in some series or sticking in some games. And I'm sure those Stars fans must have been absolutely pissed right off at us.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So I'd like to hear from you, Owen Radio Podcast. If you're listening to this and you go, Bag Milk, this is what the Oilers need to do when they go to Los Angeles to make sure they win game 3 and 4. We want to hear it from you. Owen Radio Podcast, Twitter and Instagram. Hit us up. Send us a little tweet. Or you can tweet at anybody directly if you want. Except Dan, you're not on Twitter anymore, which I respect. By the way, this is an aside. I've had a very, very fun time watching people freak out about their check marks going away today. Very, very funny.
I liked Kendrick Perkins' tweet about it. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was. I'll paraphrase, but he was basically like, you think I'm going to pay for a blue check mark? He's like, you think I'm going to pay to be famous? He's like, I'm more famous than anyone else here. I thought, hell yeah.
That was LeBron James's tweet too, wasn't it?
Yes, that was my favorite.
Was it?
Yeah. My favorite one was LeBron James going, I'm not paying $5-10 or whatever for Twitter Blue. And then we looked at his account today and it's like, oh, you did pay for Twitter Blue. I can see it. It says it right there. Shit. Anyway, powered by Boston Pizza Fanalytics. I want to talk about a couple of numbers from game 2 and get your thoughts, boys. The one that a lot of people are talking about, and we've talked about it, is the penalties. Through 2 games, the LA Kings have had 10 opportunities with the power play. The Edmonton Oilers have only had 4. Now, I'm not a tinfoil hat guy. I don't think there's a conspiracy against the Oilers. I think that's ridiculous. But what I do think is that, where'd Dan go? We lost him.
He went to go clip a fight.
Yeah, who fought? Who was the fight?
It was Luke Shen versus Buddy McFedries.
Didn't Luke Shen just fight against Tampa the other day too? Against, was it Perry, I think?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Go look. I'd like to see a scrap in our series. Anyway, Boston Pizza Fanalytics. I want to talk about the power plays. So I just want to get your guys' thoughts on it. Because to me, what's weird is some things are being called by the book, stick infraction specifically, whereas other things like holding and interference are not being called at all. And for the LA Kings, it's interesting to see people on social media going, oh, they're very disciplined. I'm like, are they though? Because they're holding and interfering and running picks all over the ice and they're just not getting called for it. What are you guys seeing on the power play or on the just with the calls in general?
I mean, I feel like the refs just don't want to get involved in it at all. Like I can't think of really one penalty this entire, the 2 games that we've seen so far that has not been completely obvious that it was a penalty, to be honest. Like we were talking about it today, Beg Milk, and there's only been one holding penalty, which was Mikey Anderson when it got put, the others got put on the 5-on-3, and the interference when Bouchard buried Trevor Moore into the boards and he didn't have the puck, which, I mean, fair enough. But I think the others have just made it like so obvious with half the penalties that they've taken that it's difficult for the refs not to call them, to be honest. The interference and holding ones, like you would obviously like to see more of, but I just don't think the refs want to make those calls. And I haven't seen too many. Like the Fogo one sticks out in the overtime the other day. That was pretty obvious. Probably should have been a holding or something along those lines. But besides that, like I haven't seen like too much. So I was like, that was a penalty. That was a penalty. That was a penalty. So I don't want to put too much blame on the refs and there was also a thing too, like people were saying the refs don't want to get involved because the other's power play is too good. And if that's the truth, then that's trash. But I really don't think that's the refs' intentions in this at all.
Rick, what do you think?
I honestly, I'm at the point now where I just think they're trying to control too much. The game management it's out of control, man. Like you watch some of the ticky-tacky things. That day RNA one, dude, he hits him in the one skate and he falls off his other skate. And he barely got, and like, sure, if you want to call that, you want to really, really, really call things, cool. But make sure you're doing it on both sides. Like the inconsistency is what gets me the most. I get it. There's not a large pool of talent to pick from for these officials. So there's going to be some good ones and there's going to be some fucking terrible ones. And there's terrible ones out there. But in general, the inconsistency amongst all of them is what gets me. And I do think that they are, whether it's consciously or not, they're trying to keep things even. And if one team's fucking around a little bit more, they find a reason to call it on the other side. Or, even our series, I don't know. I don't know. It's not been good officiating.
I'm with you. Like, I personally thought the Vinny thing was a penalty, but I also thought Anze Kopitar tripping
Leon behind the net
4 minutes earlier was a penalty that should have been called. Yes. And if you're not going to call the Leon one, then you can't fucking call the Vinny one.
Yes, but it's inconsistency, and there's I don't know. You don't want to say it's this reason or that reason, but listen, we've seen officials in basketball, we've seen officials in hockey with Tim Peel and whatever the hell he said on his mic, and what may or may not happen behind the scenes. Like this, you've seen it in soccer in Italy. You see it all over the place in Italy in soccer with match fixing. I don't like to go that far and call it like that because I don't think they're trying to like pick who's going to win the game. But I do think they try and like keep things relatively even or something like that. And there is no explanation for the breakdown in penalties right now in our series.
It's just we hear about game management, and even if we didn't know about game management, it's kind of like one of those. Yeah, we know that that's a thing that actually happens, but it's so lopsided. And like last night, I'm watching, and just the interference that was just not being called on the Kings when the Oilers were in the offensive zone. It was just driving me crazy.
Dude, I was sitting there. I watched the Florida game right in front of the ref, like 5 feet away. Matt Tkachuk gets knocked down, turns on his knees, and whacks the other dude. Two-handed slash right across the legs. Not an arm up, not a nothing. That dude stops, turns around, ends up whacking him back. Ref then calls both. Well, where was the first one? Why did you it happened right there? You obviously saw it. If he turns around and whacks him back and you give him both, and you saw the first one, you saw the second one, you said you both got to go. If you didn't see the first one, then that's only a one-man penalty. How do you call that both? And you didn't call the first one. It's terrible.
Well, and bringing it back to Edmonton, LA, like, it's reasonable logically to assume a team that's getting carved in, which the LA Kings have been for 5 of 6 periods, that they would be taking penalties trying to get out of that chaos. And they have been taking penalties. They just haven't been serving them, which is just incredibly annoying. But we'll move on. I'm
just glad I'm not an Islanders fan after what happened to them yesterday. They didn't get one power play. I think Teravainen got called on a penalty, but the Islanders were already on the 4-minute PK, so it was just a 4-on-4. And then in the overtime, Scott Mayfield got whacked in the face by a stick. And then Carolina scored the OT winner. So not a great night for the Islanders. Oh yeah, it was blatant too. Like people were saying like, oh, he lifted the stick and all that. It's like, yeah, but where the ref was, he probably wouldn't have been able to see exactly what had happened with the stick. He would have just seen the head whip back and get this clapped by a blade in the face. But yeah, just wild.
Of course, we're talking about some Boston Pizza Fanalytics. Visit your local Boston Pizza to check out their new Fanalytics menu, including new items powered by Fanalytics. You want to know what they've got, Liam?
Yes.
Pizza flights.
Ooh.
How does that serve you?
Serves me well.
You get 3 6-inch pizzas in there. Come on, serve us some Santa Fe ranch, some honey dill and creamy Caesar dips. Everybody's having a good time with that. Some deep fried pickle wedges.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. Crispy Cajun shrimp. You love it. Winged ribs.
Winged ribs.
Yeah, they made these ribs. I'm looking at a picture of them right now. They look like wings, but they're ribs.
Wow. Now that is special.
There you go. Boston Pizza Fanalytics menu is now available. Go pop in there and have something to eat. Tyler did it last night.
Also stick with the classic Boston Brute. But then you'll never go wrong there.
Or the Great White North.
Mm-hmm.
Or the cheesecake.
It's classic pizza. Or the cheesecake. Everybody goes to BP's for the cheesecake, and you should too.
Yep.
I want to dive into a little bit more of the Game 2 stuff here. Specifically, a couple of players that I think need to pick it up. Nugent Hopkins and Zach Hyman, I don't think they've had a great start to this playoffs. I don't think they've been horrible, but I wouldn't say that they've been good. And even last night, we saw Nuge and Kane get flipped on that left side on those top 6. So I want to know your guys' take on Nuge and Hyman and just what's going on with those two, because those are two players that they were really good all year and we need them. So I assume they're going to bounce back at some point and look more like themselves. But to start, it's been a little bit of a weird start for both guys.
I'm not overly worried about it. It's 2 games. They haven't been bad. If anything,
I'm not worried about it.
They've been more of that neutral zone. In like a gray zone. You haven't seen a lot yet. There's no negatives. There's nothing like you're like, oh, what are they doing? But what we've seen this year is they have a lot more to offer. Yeah, that's coming. I'm not worried. This series, as frustrating it is that we're not up 2-0, and as anxious as you get watching playoff hockey, the competition level doesn't really scare me too much. And that might just be naive or whatever, but the Oilers are just so much better, and we've seen it if you can step away from the actual scores.
Yeah. Liam, what do you think of those two? Hyman and Nuge.
Yeah, I don't. They've not been great. I think you could argue in game 1 they were probably 2 of the worst forwards on the team in an overall thing, and I think it's brought down McDavid's game a little bit because those who just aren't playing at the rhythm that we've seen them most of the season. But I think part of it too is the Oilers simply aren't just getting power plays, which I think just helps those two kind of get the mojo going within the game and all that kind of stuff too, right? And I'm finding Hyman is maybe overcomplicating his game just a little bit and just needs to simplify it. And I actually quite liked it when Kane went up to that top line with McDavid and Nuge came down. I just think Nuge plays better with Draisaitl and Kane with McDavid too, because McDavid and Hyman ain't going to take no shit from anybody and they'll just get in there. And obviously Kane's a shooter, and then Nugent Hopkins, can play at a little bit of a slower pace, which Draisaitl obviously likes to do as well from time to time. So I think the chemistry between those two is just a little bit better. So I'll be curious to see how they do this next game, assuming that top 6 kind of goes that way. But I think they definitely need to get better because they had fantastic seasons and now expectations are higher. And we're kind of lucky in a way that the bottom 6 has been kind of beaten at the drum that they have been without Nugent Hyman playing it the way they can too.
I agree. I hope that they keep Nuge with Draisaitl. I think that their game complements each other a little bit better. And even after they flipped that switch, I think it was in the third period, if I remember correctly. Nuge had some really solid chances because Draisaitl fed him in open spots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Leon's playing out of his fucking mind right now, and it's amazing to watch. He is just kind of single-handedly taking over games when he can. So I like that. I'm curious to see if they keep it that way for game 3.
I think they'll start with the way they finished.
Yeah, I do too. And I think just on that, like Nugent Hopkins, what do you have? Did he have 40 goals this season?
37.
37. He has that natural instinct to obviously put the puck in the net, but I think Evander Kane has the killer instinct to like kind of keep going to the net when McDavid's going there and everything. And just, he's been a goal scorer his whole career. This is the first time we've seen Nugent Hopkins really take off in that direction. So I think the games are just obviously polar opposites almost, despite how many goals Nugent Hopkins scored this season too.
It's good to see him swap up though. You have different type of game styles. It changes the view for the defensive team too. And I think actually you could see Woody have a preference of, depending on who McLellan's going to try and face off with us, that he may swap the wingers based on that.
Let's talk about Connor McDavid a little bit. People are so funny. Like, we're used to him scoring points basically at will. And when he doesn't do that, the theories of what's going on come out from the woodwork like crazy. So to me, I'm looking at it as Connor's got 1 point in the 2 games. I was watching him last night, and what I saw with Connor is that the Kings are double covering him like crazy, and they're doing it all over the offensive zone, essentially leaving his 2 wingers with a lot more space. But since they're collapsing on him so quickly, he hasn't been able to kind of do the things that we would expect him to. What are you guys seeing in Connor's game? Do you think he's hurt? Do you think he's sick? Or do you think this is just the first couple games of a series where he's going to learn what it takes to get past this Kings coverage? And in a game or two, we're going to see Connor pop off for 3-4 points.
I am not on the train that Connor McDavid is injured. I think that's baffling, to be honest. Look at the way he's actually playing. I think it's just credit to the LA Kings, to be honest. They're playing him so well and kind of forcing him to the outside a lot. But McDavid had that really good chance in game 1 where he took on a couple of guys, whatever it was, and didn't score. But I'm not worried about Connor McDavid. He had 3 points against LA in 4 games this season. It's not like he's dominated them all year long, and this is just something crazy that's happened. They've done a good job of defending him all season, and he's Connor McDavid. He's going to figure it out, and it's not how long it's not what it's saying. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. Like, I think that's what LA is doing right now. Yeah, DR10.
Fucking right. Yeah, I'm with you. It feels like sometimes you can give the Kings a little bit of credit for how they're shutting him down, but I also am never going to bet against him figuring it out and then torching them and making them all look like assholes. Rick, what do you see in Connor's game right now?
Exactly what you guys just said. It's 2 games. Has he been bad? No, he's had 8 chances. He's had his chances. Have they gone in? Not really.
He had 6 shots last night.
Look out. If he's played well, had his chances and have not gone in for 2 or 3 games, that next game, I'd be a little bit worried. So whether it's tomorrow, whether it's Sunday, you might want to start looking at the Connor, 3, 4, 5 point mark.
The only thing I would say, just to add, that I would like Connor to do is get back to be a little bit more selfish. I feel like he's doing some pass firsting a little bit right now, and I love the way he shoots the puck. So I want him to be more selfish. Dan, when you're looking at Connor McDavid's game, what do you see?
I think it's what Liam said. It's give the LA Kings credit because that's what they're like. To me, there's like one team in the league that has the advantage of having a head coach that knows exactly what makes McDavid tick and what makes him upset. And so, I just think it's all these little adjustments that Connor makes in his game. And yes, I fully expect to have a couple of games where Connor McDavid is going to have his best game. And that's what I alluded to in the first game analysis, talking about our wingers, is that, to me, there's a good thing in having 1-1 in the series, and Connor McDavid hasn't unloaded anything yet. So that's a good point too. Yes, it's exciting that the Oilers have been able to overcome that on the back of Leon Draisaitl, really. He's been the star talent that McDavid hasn't yet been able to break through on. And as you said, Rick, too, McDavid has had some absolute flashes of brilliance here still. And I just think it's a couple of little adjustments here and there, and we're going to see Connor McDavid again.
Let's talk about Leon, because you mentioned him. He is having some success against the LA Kings right now. He's got 5 points through 2 games, 2 goals, 3 assists. Rick, what are you seeing from the big man?
This is his kind of game. I've said it for a long time that he's going to be that Joe Thornton-esque type of player that, he brings the puck across the blue line and he slows it right down. He accepts whatever body contact you want to bring. It doesn't matter to him. He's too big. He's too strong. The way he spins off bodies, his passing ability is better than essentially everybody in the league. He's just doing his thing out there right now, and LA can't. And LA doesn't have an answer for it.
Not only do they not have an answer for the skill, they also don't have an answer for him being physical when he has the puck as well. He is throwing the body around so far through these two games. I love to see it because he is blowing guys up and catching them off guard. Liam, what do you see with Draisaitl's game?
I'm seeing a lot of cash dollar signs is what I'm seeing with Leon Draisaitl's game. Over 1.5 points. Thank you, Betway. Very nice of you to keep.
Shout out to our friends at Betway, provided you are 19 plus and bet responsibly.
I'm always paying responsibly enough to pay my rent every month. Anyway, Leon Draisaitl. Yeah, I mean, he's just from the first second yesterday, it felt like he was just on another level immediately. And it doesn't matter who he's playing with. Like the first goal he scored in game 1 was an assist off Matthias Janmark. The assist he got yesterday was on a Derek Ryan goal. Like this guy. He's capable of doing it with whoever you want. I think the 4 of us could go out there and put out a shift with Leon Draisaitl, to be honest, and he would make us look fantastic at the moment. He is just unbelievable in the playoffs, and it's crazy to think that this guy was so good last year on one leg, and now he's doing it all again, and probably a little bit better too on 2 legs, and actually on his own, and not with McDavid this time. Like it's so nice to have him on our team, considering, like we said, McDavid hasn't hit his stride yet, which is no problem because we have Leon Draisaitl there.
Even if I didn't get a point, I'd be at least a plus player. I'm just saying that.
Yep. Yes. Let's go. I'll have a couple of hits on there, maybe some PIMs on the adult score sheet.
Well, for me, the thing with Leon is that he's doing it with a little bit of sass and a little bit of flair too. You see those little clips of him going to the Kings bench and just kind of and just giving it, just stirring it up. And I love that. I love when you can be a pest without having to shove one single solitary other body around. But then again, he is doing that as well. So it's
he's an asshole with a stick. I love it.
It's amazing to see and yeah, you love to see it because as we keep talking about, you just haven't seen it yet from some other superstars on this team, and they're coming, and it's coming from them too. So we're good to go.
You know what else I like? Depth scoring. Derek Ryan opened the scoring last night. Klim Kostin with the game winner. Those are 2 guys that you don't necessarily expect to score on a nightly basis, but damn it, when you get a depth goal from those 2 guys, I love it.
Come on, I feel like Derek Ryan had at least 50 this year.
Derek Ryan probably, yep. That's why I'm worried. I said I'm worried about him getting the Huberdeau extension.
I wonder if you prorated his minutes up to Connor's minutes, I wonder what kind of points he'd be looking at.
Yeah, well, I'll say the exact same thing as Klim right now, because last night he only played just over 7 minutes, and damn it, were those effective 7 minutes. I feel like every time he was out there, Klim Kostin was making things happen. Let me pull up his numbers here specifically. Klim Kostin he was a +2. He had 2 shots on goal. He had 5 hits. He had a takeaway. Somehow he had a 100% in the faceoff circle, and it got all done in 7:42.
Efficient.
Tyler and I were talking about this today, and it's probably a good debate for right now. Does he need to play a little bit more, or is that the perfect amount of time for Klim Shady at the moment?
I think there's more time he can put him out there for, but I don't think that anyone's out there needs to be replaced right now either.
We would,
like I don't think I would want to play him like big 3 minutes or anything like that. But if you bump him up with some extra shifts here and there, of course, why not?
Yeah, it's kind of what I was saying too. I think Tyler's point was, do you bring a little bit down off Yamamoto, which I said probably not, because he's actually doing pretty well besides not scoring points. Yeah, but I think
the team doesn't have a lot of goals right now. That's why players don't have points, because the team hasn't put up a lot of points.
Yeah, and it's tough to I know we're tied at 1-1, but the others were the best team in game 1 essentially. How much of a rhythm do you want to mess with the minutes guys are playing? I know we spoke about Kane and Nuge switching around, but minutes aren't really moving too much there. And it's just, I don't know. I don't think there's room to really move Klim Kostin up the lineup to give him more points. You can maybe bring him up a couple extra shifts to get him to maybe 9-minute mark. But man, if he's that effective at 7.5, do you want to push him a little bit more to find out what happens?
They're good minutes.
There are the Janmark minutes, though, that are going to need to be eaten up, right?
True.
So minus out the PK minutes, because I don't think he's really out there PK. There are whatever those extra minutes are. I wouldn't be too worried about giving him a larger portion of those. But like you were saying, there's just no real reason to alter the lineup that much right now because nobody's really dogging it. Like there's just nobody that needs a demotion or whatever, you know?
Let me guys ask you a different question now. With Janmark out, according to Jason Gregor, likely for the series, do you stick with the 11-7 and give Connor and Leon an extra couple of shifts? Because like last night, Derek Ryan and Klim Kostin both scored when Leon Draisaitl was their center. So to me, I just look at the way the last game goes and go, damn it, I love the option of having those two studs go out for an extra shift, maybe with a better matchup.
Especially when the other team has the last change.
I think one thing too, like obviously Danault has been very good this series against McDavid and Kopitar, but even though LA will have that last change, there's still going to be opportunities where it's like, okay, well, Draisaitl's with Derek Ryan and Ryan McLeod. We can't just send Kopitar over the boards again. Like, there's going to be times where LA is just going to have to play the fourth line against him, and the others should take full advantage of it. I think it was Carl Grunstrom, Leon Draisaitl, and Barris last night too. I wouldn't mind seeing that again in this series, to be honest.
That's Dan. What do you think? You go stick with the 11-7?
I'm on the fence just because I think some of our young defensemen, I think Vinny Desharnais could use a press box visit. So I might look at putting in Devon Shore, but like Rick alluded to it, the ability to use that, not having the last change, being able to put Leon and Connor out with some unsuspecting line mates is nice too. So I don't know. I'm on the fence between the 11-7 and the 12-6.
Well, just on the Desharnais thing, I don't think he needs to necessarily go to the stands. I just think maybe the Oilers could give Broberg a couple extra minutes. Like, would that be such a bad thing? I think Broberg I wrote about it a couple of weeks ago. Like, he's not perfect by any means, but he doesn't really do anything wrong. He was +2 last night. He played 4 minutes. Like, come on. If you put Broberg to 8 minutes and bring Desharnais down just a tad, he's a very good penalty killer. And I think that's why he's able to stick in the team so long. But bring him down. I think he played like 18 minutes last night, like 3 minutes on the PK. If you can bring his 5-on-5 down to around maybe 13 and bring Broberg up just a little bit more, those extra 2 minutes, I think that would actually be a very good balance, and perhaps I would even like limit the mistakes from a Desharnais on that second goal where he's just like that split second too long, and if he didn't do that, it obviously would have been a good play, but end up in the back of the net and you avoid that just that little bit longer, I think.
And he doesn't get credit for the fact he brought the puck out of the corner there too under a little bit of pressure instead of just putting the glass and out. He sidestepped the guy, advanced the puck himself, and then maybe just took, like I said, a fraction of a second too long. If he just moves it back before, that's a hell of a play by him. I think for also we need the experience of these guys too, right? Because eventually these guys are going to be taken over.
Yeah, I like my thing is just, and the reason I say put him up in Popcorn Alley is just because I don't think that necessarily that is just his fault. I think that the team needs to support him as well. But I just think that taking Desharnais out of the lineup doesn't necessarily hurt your chances any more than an adjustment of putting in a Drew or Devon Shore. I keep trying to say Drew Shore.
For sure it does, because all of a sudden you lose that massive penalty killer.
Yeah, like
Broberg's not out there killing penalties like him, right?
Yeah, I don't see Desharnais as much of
he doesn't, and then all of a sudden you lose a bit of that physical feature down low too.
I think one other thing too is this is kind of an issue the Oilers knew they were going to run into at the deadline when they didn't go out and get another defenseman. Like, if Desharnais wasn't playing good on that right side, there was no other option. So this is kind of it, right? Like, you either just bring his minutes down a little bit and trust Kulak can maybe play a couple extra more on the right side, who's been phenomenal, by the way. That guy is just someone who goes out and does his job every single night, and then just bring up Broberg a little bit. I think that can be the solution, just to balance things out a little bit. But I agree with what Rick said a little bit too, as well. He's way too valuable on the penalty kill, I think, to have him out there. And the penalty kill has been really, really good considering how much we've put it out there. Like, the one goal they allowed in with 16 seconds left was a 6-on-4, and then the other one was a bad turnover in the offensive zone. So they've been very, very, very good for how poor they have been for the majority of the season.
Perfect 4 for 4 last night in game 2. Ideally, they wouldn't have to use the PK as much as they have. Those are the fucking sticks down, boys.
Some yummy numbers.
Yeah.
Delicious numbers brought to you by Boston Pizza and Fanalytics. Pizza flight. That sounds like a great time. I could go for a pizza flight right now. I would enjoy that.
Can you pick the pizza?
Yes. It's an incredible list of options. It's like, I think it's all of their signature pizzas.
Let me see what it says here specifically.
I was scouting it out because as soon as I heard that this promotion was coming, I was in.
The words that you need to know, Liam. Select any 3 6-inch pizzas. There you go.
That is
any
nice.
3. Or if you want, just pick all 3 of the same. It's not so much a flight as just 3 small pizzas, but do you, man?
It's an 18-inch.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Now I'm thinking about it. Pizza flight's a lot. That's a hefty meal. Challenge accepted, Boston Pizza.
You can have
challenge accepted.
Deep fried pickles for dessert.
Fucking right.
Hold the deep fried pickles for dessert?
Yeah, why not?
Speaking of dessert, Liam, what was the banana count last night?
I had 5 bananas yesterday. I was talking about this with Jay on Tuesday. Actually, it was yesterday when we were at Greta doing the show, and Jay and I both agreed game 1 was too comfortable. We felt too calm in going into that third period, like, oh, we're gonna breeze through it. I'll admit I let off the bananas a little bit, so I said, you know what, this game on yesterday, Wednesday, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm going to make sure I'm determined the entire 60 minutes like the Oilers should be. And then there you go. We got the victory. I won't lie. Right after they hit the post and the intermission, and it came to the intermission, I walked straight to the fruit bowl and just grabbed one. I
So
bad right now.
Do you have a schedule? Like, do you have like a 1 per period? Like, I know we have a BPP, but I think yours is a little bit different of a BPP.
Yeah, no.
Is it one before the game, one in, like, how do these work here?
Yeah, how are the 5 distributed?
So yesterday I had one to start the game because I was feeling a little anxious going into it. So I had one to kick out the nerves.
Nobody needs a cramp.
No. And then basically I had one right after whoever scored the first goal. No, I had one right after that. I was like, oh boy, this feels like I've seen this movie before. And then as soon as Evander Kane slapped that puck over the glass, I marched through it again and grabbed another one. And then they hit the post and I grabbed one. And then I had one as it was coming down to the end of the game too, that to close it all out.
Have you ever like started chain eating them? Like have like 4 beside you there. It's like triple overtime or something like that. He's got 4 beside him. He just peeling them and fucking throwing them back like chain smoking.
I've had one, not quite like that. I'm not a lunatic, right?
Double fisting,
when they went to overtime last year against Calgary, I had 3 basically pretty close to each other. I think I had one in the intermission, one right reasonably close as the period started, and then one just after it began, and then McDavid did the rest.
I don't know if it was in the second intermission or when you tweeted it, Rick, but Rick just tweeted last night during the game, I need a banana.
I saw that.
It made me laugh out loud.
Yeah, it probably was after that second goal.
Yeah. They're effective. They're effective. I would recommend it to anyone. The funny part,
I think I might have to put a bundle in the work there, or keep a bundle in my hoodie or something. I got room for like 3 in here a bit.
So yeah, when we did the show at Greta yesterday, Jay asked me my count from the game before, and I think I had 3 or 4. Oh no, I had 3, and then I did my 4th on After Dark. And Jay said, "Do you just carry a banana around with you everywhere?" And funnily enough, I had some in my backpack that day, so I just grabbed one right out of my backpack and chucked it down on the show. And then people were just telling me like all the side effects of eating too many bananas. Like, I'm a seasoned vet at this, folks. I'm past anything.
Whoa. What do you mean side effects?
Apparently there's something called hyper something. I don't know. It wasn't thermia, so I've never heard of it before. No, if I haven't heard of it, how can it hurt me?
That is true. That's what most doctors would say.
Do you ever sneak them into the arena?
No, I have not snuck one into the arena before. That'd be a challenge, though.
I don't think it would.
No, challenge at all. Dude, you're talking to guys who got a shovel into an arena before. Getting a banana in, we could do that in our sleep.
Yeah,
all you need is confidence.
Yeah,
you walk in there confident. You can do anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I get to a game this series, I'll try and sneak in a banana and get a nice picture in there for everyone.
Just imagine the likes and retweets on that. The sweet dopamine release.
How about the Germans yesterday? Did you guys see their tweet that absolutely popped off?
No.
So So when the players were leaving, you could see Devon score at the end of the tunnel, just like fist bumping everybody. And they did their chant and put out a video and they tagged me in it. It is gone supernova. It's got like over 500 likes. Like everyone's retweeting this thing. I go to my phone and I think, I got a bunch of notifications. I wonder what tweet went off. And it's just the Germans over and over and over again. It's like, man, Devon Shore has really got a following.
If I'm going to find that tweet from Oilersnation_DE, and I'll put that in the article on Oilersnation.com so you can see it if you don't have the tweet machine.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I needed that.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Dan. A quick mention to our friends at AMA Travel. I just want to say thanks. Tomorrow I'm jumping on a plane. We're going down to LA for games 3 and 4. And AMA Travel made it all possible. They sorted us out. They made sure that we're going to get there in time. We're going to get our hotel's going to be sorted. So I just want to say thank you from AMA Travel. Watch out for some travel diaries from me when you're in Los Angeles. What are you laughing at?
Diaries is not the word I was expecting from Travel Dia.
Me neither.
What were you guys thinking?
Travel Dia?
What were you thinking? I don't get it.
Travel diarrhea. Watch out for the travel diarrhea.
LA water.
Diarrhea. It is because I have punished my body in a way that even
don't drink from the canal. Don't drink
Dan,
from
I hate to do this to you, but there's a fight in the Rangers game right now.
Oh, buddy,
it's
I'm
McLeod.
My internet is poo right now.
McLeod and this is a good one though.
And we didn't think that series was going to get spicy.
Who's 4?
4? Isn't that?
Hate each other a lot.
Schneider.
Close.
Yeah, I thought it was him.
Why don't we see this type of attitude out of the other brother there, McLeod?
He's already missing a teeth, Rick.
He's already missed it. And you know what? I think
he's down. I think he's down more than 1 too. By the way.
Yeah, I don't want to fight a guy that's got no teeth. I'll tell you that much. I got Ask the Idiots questions for you boys. I got 3.
Those are nice bunches.
First question. Liam is up on my screen first. My Oilers fandom PTSD is kicking in. Should I be concerned that so many experts picked the Oilers to go on a long playoff run, with some of them even picking them to win the cup?
I've thought about this too, but I just don't know why it matters. Like, I get it. There's like the worry of like, oh no, if we don't want to disappoint. It's like whenever you watch Monday Night Football and they all pick the wrong team. It's quite funny. But I mean, the Oilers are good. They have 2 of the best players in the league. There's no reason to think this team can't go win the Stanley Cup. So no, I don't think you should be worried. But I get it.
Dan, should our question asker be worried about such a thing?
I was also worried about this very same thing, but then I told myself, was I worried about it when we were never picked by anybody and we didn't win? No. So I don't think I care that much about it now. And it is what it is. It's going to suck if it doesn't work out and all those people get called idiots because they thought we were the champions. But that's the only thing you can really say about that.
Rick?
No, we're one of the best teams in the league. We've earned the right to be in the conversation.
Fucking right. Earn, not given. Don't worry about it. Let's go. Second question. Rick, you're up first. What's the best sports city you've ever been to, and what sport did you watch?
Well, this probably isn't more as a homer thing as a lack of been to places, but I think the best sporting event that I've attended would be an Oiler playoff game. I mean, there's obviously part of it just being my level of interest in the game, but the atmosphere itself too, right? Like it's, I mean, I've been to a bunch of Oiler games, a couple of baseball games, football games, but nothing at the level that what we see when you go to a playoff game here.
Dan, best sporting city that you've been to, and what did you watch?
Well, I've seen quite a few Oilers games in other cities. The coolest, I think, non-Oilers event that I've seen was I was in Chicago in 2017, I think, when they were on their Cup Finals run, that they won the Cup. 2017, 2015? 15 sounds better. But anyways, they lost 2 games that year at home in the playoff run, and I got to see one of the losses. But seeing a home game in Chicago in the Madhouse at Madison was wild. I just have one quick memory that always comes up. There was an old guy that there was a long play. It was probably like 3 or 4 minutes of a play, and he just had to go to the bathroom. And he stood up, and I swear I thought that people were going to murder him. There was people that were like screaming vulgarities at him as he was going down the stairs, and then as he came back up in the intermission as well. They were just it's wild in there. Chicago is a crazy place to watch a sporting event.
Liam, best sports city you've been to, and what were you watching?
Honestly, I mean, Game 7 is the best sporting event I've ever been to, so I think it's easy to say. I think Edmonton in the playoffs.
Financially recovered.
I never will. I haven't been to a game since. It's hard to compare because I've never been in a city before where a team is having success.
Have you not seen any big soccer games?
Not really. My team's shit. We don't win anything. They won a trophy last month, and it's the first time I have seen one of my sports teams win a trophy. And I am almost 27 years old. It's kind of wild, but yeah, I mean, that was nuts. And the games I've been to, like Bolton was always good, but the fan base isn't kind of as nutty as it would have been for Game 7. But again, I've not been to a game where there's been so much on the line, I guess is a good way to put it. So I would have to say Edmonton. This place is absolutely insane when the boys are buzzing.
I was at Game 7 last year against LA2, and hard to argue that, to be honest, that Rogers Place was absolutely ridiculous. And honestly, most of my sporting events that I've ever been to have been Oilers games, now that I'm thinking about this question. The Heritage Classic in Winnipeg was great, despite the 18-hour bus ride to get there. That was terrible. But the event itself was fantastic. I liked drinking the stadium out of beer during the sun delay. That was fun. Getting away from hockey, I went to Monday Night Football. This was, I guess, 10 years ago now or something like that. But just the spectacle of Monday Night Football, I thought was really cool. I'd never been to an NFL game, so that was my first one. And just seeing all the tailgating and all that shit, that was in Arizona. That was really cool. They were playing the Raiders, and there was a bunch of fights in the stands. Thought that was fun. You know, one thing I'd like to go see the running of the bulls and cheer for the bull. I think that'd be fun. I don't know. I'd like to hear from you, though. That's an interesting question, especially if you've done a bunch of sports trips. Like, it would be interesting to ask this question to Jay, because he and his boys go on sports trips all the time.
Actually, I had one, but it doesn't relate to the question. He kind of does. I went to a college football game when I was down in Nashville at Vanderbilt, but it was Vanderbilt versus Georgia, and the whole stadium was just Georgia Bulldogs fans at Vanderbilt. And it was just a small section that wasn't even like a full section. It was half of the section that was for Vanderbilt, the student section, and it was barely full. So my answer is watching Georgia play in Nashville. So Nashville, but as for the Georgia fans.
Did somebody just get shot on this podcast? What was that?
I clicked the video of whatever's happening in Toronto right now, but it turned off real fast. Is that loud? Is it loud?
I was just like, what's going on? Do I need to hit the deck?
Are you watching this Toronto game right now?
No.
The Jays game?
No, the Leafs game.
I did. I had it on, yeah.
It's over now.
Oh, is this old? I just saw that tweet by Gregor, but some dude in like a hoodie trying to fight in the penalty box.
Tried to fight Tanner Janot.
Yeah. Here's another thing. Don't fucking try to fight players in the penalty box. Don't do that.
Yes, please do. Please do. I want to see people get in there and eat it and take your lumps and walk home afterwards. Don't go try and get all litigious on them. But if you fall in there and you eat some, this is Harambe all over again.
Never forget. Gone but never forgotten.
Yes.
Damn it. Fucking Cincinnati Zoo. Last question for Ask the Idiot.
Happening on this podcast.
Tyler's not here to get us back on the rails. All right. Ask the Idiot's last question, boys. And this is probably the most important thing that you've been asked today. Dan.
Yes.
What flavor of cat food should Tyler eat? And why is he ducking his bet?
What? What? What?
For those that don't know, Tyler, before the season started, made a bet that the Boston Bruins would miss the playoffs.
What?
And he said if they won the division, he would eat cat food.
Oh my God.
And as we know, the Boston Bruins just had one of the best season of all time. And Tyler has yet to consume cat food, even though I have offered to make him a nice charcuterie board style display.
He's got to go fancy feast.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Rick says no.
You got to have that slurry, Rick.
What's that?
You need that slurry with it to rinse it down after.
Well, no, here's the thing. I don't know. I think I saw, it must have been like a commercial or something like that. There's this girl and she's in her boyfriend's apartment, opens the fridge and pulls out this bag. And she's like, "You have dog food in the fridge?" He's like, "No, there's food that I feed my dog in the fridge." And then, he ends up, whatever, they break it down. It's all relatively healthy and I think relatively normal. So if he's smart, he puts the extra dollars out there and gets the healthiest, normalest cat food out there possible. This way you're not getting something out of a can that, I don't know. Dude, I couldn't get like 2 spoons into that.
Why is he ducking the bet though?
Why did he make that bet?
That's a good question.
What possessed him to make
He wrote a check. Now he's got to cash it.
And we all got the receipt.
That's all there is to it, man. He's got to step up and eat it.
Liam,
I have
on here.
I don't know what's going on. I got a feeling that he'll like it. I think Tyler will come out the other side.
I think that's why he's scared, is because he's actually going to get like like when he comes into the office with his weird little tuppy of lunch that he's always got, and he's just going to be like hoard eating it like he's in prison in the corner of the studio and be like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I got my fancy feast. I got the chicken food, man." Delicious.
I just got that feeling he's going to do it. We're going to take some pictures of him, and at the end he'll be like, "Wasn't that bad?"
Listen,
always sunny, man.
What's going to happen? I've eaten dog food plenty of times, and last year I probably ate 3-4 different kinds of dog food, like treats specifically to raise money for the Edmonton Food Bank during the Beatcasts, and they're really like a lot of them really aren't that bad. Like, am I gonna go buy some dog jerky and just munch? No. But if I have
way too close to you,
if I have a bet, I will pay my bet.
Yeah, you got to always pay your debt.
I will say I've been going to Pet Value a lot recently, and they, as you, no reason. So when you get up to the front, you go to Winners or somewhere, and they have the impulse aisle, whatever. Well, at Pet Value, they have their own impulse aisle, but it's all dog treats. I'm assuming they're dog treats, but boy, oh boy, do they look good! And I've just wondered, wonder if people just buy those and mistaken them and just kind of wolf them down. But my answer is liver cat food. Is what Tyler's.
A nice, I'm going to say a nice something, maybe some salmon, a little classier.
Ooh.
That'd be nice. But what I really want to do for Tyler is I want to do like a sampling. Like we talk about the fanalytics menu, the pizza flight. Now we would get a cat food flight for Tyler. And because he has been ducking this bet now, we are well into the first round of the playoffs here. I think it should get worse as we go along. This bet needs to collect interest.
It does.
He will never agree. He grows more and more frustrated the more it gets mentioned. So it'll be interesting who's on this call.
So the good thing about Tyler is he's never figured out in his time at Oilers Nation that when things really bother him, that people just keep cranking it up. And had he just had a little bit of cat food already, it would have been gone. But now this is going to live forever. So if you're listening to this podcast right now, hit up Tyler on his socials and go, where's the cat food, man?
I want to see people just start dropping off tins of cat food at the office.
Please do. Come on down to Dog Patch, drop off some cat food. Tell them to bring it upstairs. It's for Tyler.
Yeah.
Does Tyler have a cat in it? No, just a preference.
Every single day on Oilersnation every day, people comment in the chat cat food gate all the time. All the time. And then people they have their Discord thing, right? They always tag me and be like, why is Tyler not eating his cat food? Yeah, I was like, hey, I'm just another man in this, but folks, I have no attachment.
So disappointed. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I honestly think the easiest way to do this is just you have to
pin him down and force it down his throat. I agree.
Not quite, but almost. Like it's
live. We can take a
live show. Have it presented to him. Have a napkin. Have a spoon. Like it's got to be full force early in the show, and it's got to be that. Like he just has like it. Eventually, he'll do it.
He would hate nothing more.
He's got to do it. Tyler, pay your debt, man.
True.
Pay your debt. Actually, Waz, you know what? If you're listening to this, clip this part and make this a clip just so that it goes out on social to get more awareness of Tyler ducking his bet. That's just my thought. I could be wrong. It's happened before. The one thing I want to get to, guys, just before we get to hot and cold performers and wrap up the podcast, because we're running way long, is Morgan Barron. I see the Winnipeg Jets versus Golden Knights game 2 is starting today. That is one of the gnarliest injuries I've seen in quite some time. And he came back in the same game, just rocking the bubble. That is wild. That is #hockey guy.
We could have seen a live guillotine if he had gone like 3 inches higher.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it was jarring how hard the head jerk was. Now, Chandler Stevenson wasn't doing it on purpose, but he was just kind of taking the guy down. And then Brossois' skate was just happened to be kind of sticking up there. And he got right on top. It was just
face first into a knife, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite thing for the Hockey Fights commenters that were like, oh, an NBA player would never. And I was like, yeah, they wouldn't, because they don't run around with 22 blades of metal around their faces. Like, I don't know. It's what a hilarious comparison. But yes, hockey guy.
Yeah, that makes me laugh too. It's like, yeah, why would that ever happen in the NBA? They don't run around with blades on their damn feet, people.
No, but they can't take a fucking injury anyways.
True.
I know what they're saying, but
I literally watched Paul Pierce get taken off on a wheelchair with a towel over his head crying. And then came back like dancing 5 minutes later.
The legend, Poopgate.
For our friends at Betway one more time, I've got some breaking news that's coming into our phone right now. If you are at Nation HQ, you will be getting donuts tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
Because Gavin the intern bet on John Tavares to score the last goal in the Leafs game, which he did. And the payout was plus 900.
Wow.
Gavin,
if you don't know what we're talking about, if you've got a big win on your bets, we now are starting a culture where you bring in some donuts for the office.
Rick,
I would like to point out here that when you're betting something when you're betting, you usually have units, they kind of stick to your units and blah, blah, blah. And then when you start to make bets like this, like last goal of the game, you're looking at fractions of a unit, right? If that's a fraction of a unit, my Lord, that was $40. Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, he doesn't screw around. He does not screw around.
He had a feeling.
I dig it, man. I am all about that.
Did they score an empty net or something? And was he on a hat trick?
They busted them. It was like 7-2.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Huh.
I didn't deserve this one, Gavin says. I misclicked because I wanted to bet JT 2 goals or more, so I was not loving it when he potted his second. I got super lucky because he misbet.
Wow.
He misbet a plus 900.
Wow, but that's karma though too, because he was gonna win his original bet. Mm-hmm. So good job.
I think I did that in Vegas once too, where I made a mistake and I ended up winning on it.
Happens the best of us.
Tyler made a mistake, there you go. And he's going to be eating cat food. So don't. The mistakes aren't always a good thing.
Got it in there again.
So if you're coming into Nation HQ, expect some fresh donuts from Gavin the intern.
Wow. If Tyler's smart, he tries to find some healthy looking cat food down in LA. I think if there's any place that's going to have like relatively normal food they feed to their cat, it's going to be LA. That's where he's got to take advantage of this. He's not here tonight. He's not going to know. No one's going to tell him until he gets back.
I commit to you guys right now that if I see some kind of like fucking cat spa or something like that, whatever they are down in LA, I'm going to sneaky go in there and buy like a brownie or something. And I'm going to, or whatever their cat treats are. I don't know if cats can eat brownies. Probably.
Well, I get what you're coming from. Like a sweet,
whatever their fancy looking sweet treat is, I'm going to feed that to Tyler. I commit to you guys on this podcast that I will do that if I find it.
However, I would like to state, just to stipulate here that is not paying his debt. That might be paying part of the interest.
Yes, that might be paying part of the interest, right? The juice is still running here. That's that's in my opinion, the juice is running.
Mm-hmm.
All right, gentlemen, let's wrap up the podcast with some hot and cold performers. Of course, we start off with our veggies, cold performers of the week. I'm going first because I'm selfish. On Monday, the Edmonton Oilers lost in overtime. Annoying, sad, enraging, in fact. I was sitting there in my seat with sales guy Jared. We were both drunk and sad, just kind of wallowing in our feelings. And then we look out, there's a bunch of dumb assholes throwing shit on the ice. And I can't think of anything that makes you look like more of a baby and a bad loser than throwing things on the ice because you're upset about a call, you're upset about a loss. I don't understand it at all because winning the Stanley Cup is never meant to be easy. It's never going to be easy. Act like you've been there before. And for that, all of you that threw shit on the ice, by the way, who's throwing $15 beers on the ice? What do you do for a job? Give them to me.
That thing would have been warm.
It would have been warm. How long were you sitting on that thing? There's a lot to be upset about here. So all of you guys throwing shit on the ice, you get my cold performer of the week. I'm in control of the buttons today. Liam, your cold performer of the week.
My cold performer of the week. So on Sunday, I decided I was going to try and be a bit more active. So my girlfriend and I were like, well, let's go on a bike ride. And it was our first one of the year. If you remember rightly, it was quite nice on Sunday. I think it was around 15 degrees. So lovely. I live kind of on the edge of Sherwood Park, and we decided there's a path you can bike to Fort Saskatchewan. So I'm on my bike and I'm biking to Fort Saskatchewan. I get there, and part of the cold performer is that there was nothing on the other side. It was just a field. And I was like, okay, well, that was rather disappointing. So we're like, okay, we stop for 10 minutes or so and just sit on this bench. And then we're like, okay, let's go back. So we're at about 20 kilometers at this point on our way back. And all of a sudden I'm going up this hill, and the grips on my bike aren't very big. So I changed the gear accidentally as I'm trying to go up this hill. Next thing you know, just crash bang wallop, my chain is off. My chain is gone. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I flip the bike upside down, and I'm looking at this chain, and it is just all wrapped up. There's 0% chance I can take it off, but obviously I got to make it look like I can do it. So I'm there for like 20 minutes. Multiple people just bike past me. Nobody offers a hand. So chain didn't go back on. I had to call my dad and be like, hey, can you come pick me up from Fort Saskatchewan? My bike chain has fallen off. But the worst part was I then had to walk back to Fort Saskatchewan with this bike next to me, and I couldn't even use. So there you go. My cold performer of the week is don't exercise anymore.
Emotional damage.
Nation Dan, your cold performer of the week.
Wow, I don't know how I follow that up. I'm just going to give it to all the people that are booing Drew Doughty. I find it to be silly to be booing a guy, especially when a lot of our chants and our cheers like Nuge and Stu sound awfully familiar to the booing that we're also doing for Drew Doughty. I would like to hear us just be more positive as a fan base. So booing Drew Doughty every time he touches the puck gets my cold performer of the week. No kind of big smile on his face when I started talking.
Fuck. My soundboard rules. Rick, your cold performer of the week.
It's just plain and simple. The fact it's only 1-1 when it should be 2-0.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no.
Oh, I thought I kept going.
I thought there was going to be another one.
It could have been. I could extend it if you like. You know?
Let's go, baby.
Let's finish off the podcast with some positive news. Looking back at the last 7 days of our lives. Rick, I'm going to start with you. Your hot performer of the week.
Well, I'll leave the one big one to somebody else, but I'm going to give it to the young defenseman there, Mr. Bouchard. I think he's been really solid so far, and this might be a little bit selfish on my part because he definitely helped me out last night with a couple of shots on goal and an assist and an Oilers win. It was a very profitable evening, so I'm going to give it out to Mr. Bouchard for lining my pockets.
So you've come to the master for guidance.
I'll be going back to more, that's for sure.
Liam, your hot performer of the week.
My hot performer of the week goes to the young lady at Pet Value who helped me with my algae problem in my fish tank after the lady at PetSmart basically told me to go shove it where the sun doesn't shine. So shout out to Pet Value.
Which story did you have to write down, by the way? At the very beginning here, he said he needed a piece of paper and a pen because he had to write down his hot or cold performer. I'm just curious which one you had to write down.
I wrote down the bike chain story. I wanted to make sure I got that one out there. Because I've been holding on to that one since Sunday, so I had to make sure I got it out there to the world.
Nation Dan, your hot performer of the week.
My hot performer of the week is going to go to all the folks that stood out in the moss pit the last two games. It has been rainy and cold for game one, and then it was cold for game two. So huge ups to them because that's a phenomenal shot to be able to cut to. And then we were given the gold of Connor McDavid watching the reaction in the moss pit. So everybody that has been braving the temperatures of these early games of the playoffs in both the tailgate section or Stelter Square, as we're like to call it, as well as the moss pit, you get my hot performer of the week. Keep it going. Keep it going for me. No. Keep it going. Let's keep that going.
That was long and loud.
The crowd loved me. You know what? The crowd spoken, Leon. They chose my answer.
True.
What did I have? I don't remember what I wrote down here.
The applause break broke bag milk.
Oh yeah. The guy, you know who my hot performer of the week is? And shout out to Taco Bella for promoting his hydration. The guy who keeps drinking beers out of his shoe. I mean, we've all seen a shoey before.
Oh, yeah.
This is not new, but the commitment to the game of one, he did one in the rain. So what did he do with his wet ass shoe? Just put his foot back in it, probably. Two, after the second goal last night, he did another one. And I think that's the kind of heroism that we need to encourage and support around here. So you, sir, are disgusting, but you are my hot performer of the week.
Can I give an honorable mention to another fan of the Oilers that I just remembered about?
Yes, you may.
The mullet guy. Do you guys know the Oilers mullet fan?
I believe his name is Mick Mullet, for the record.
Mick
He was
Mullet.
sitting in front of me last night.
Do you know he drives from Strathmore every time he goes to an Oilers game?
Where's Strathmore?
By Calgary? Like it's like half an hour outside of Calgary.
Jesus.
It is nuts. Just the commitment to it. So shout out to Mick Mullet. I believe he had blue hair the other day.
I think he did last night because I saw him last night. I need a button. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, little John.
Okay.
Yeah, little John. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves it, Dan. You know? Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the good life.
There you go.
All right, there you go. There you have it. The Thursday edition of Oilers Nation Radio. I want to say thank you to Greta. Book gretabar.com/book. Tables are sold out for Friday, though they do have some available for Sunday, but this is going to sell out. Standing room will be available. Also, shout out to Boston Pizza and the Fanalytics menu. We've got some hungry chaps on this podcast now. AMA Travel for getting us down to LA. Betway for making a couple of people some money and getting Nation HQ donuts, courtesy of Gavin the intern. And lastly, Oodle Noodle, pop in there and grab yourself a sticker at any of the Edmonton locations. But if you are in Calgary, again, you've made poor choices and that is your fault. Gentlemen, final thoughts?
Go Oilers.
Let's do a score prediction for game 3 tomorrow. What do you got? 4-2 win coming. I already manifested one last night. Let's go.
5-1.
I'm going to go 5-2 power play internet.
4-0. Edmonton Oilers win.
Fucking right. So that's where we're going to end it off. Oilers Nation Radio. Have a great weekend, everybody.